Travis Wayne Goodsill. Another morning. The book of Esther is where the Jews get their holy day of Purim. Lots, as it's translated into. It is my lot in life, my fortune, my fame, tradition, if I were a rich man. Yeah, the good old days when we had Broadway plays and performances. The story has an underlining meaning, and it's not that you need a queen to step in and save people, because Esther is Ishtar. She's the goddess of Babylon, and thus the wife of the king of Babylon, and so thus she was called the queen of the king, even though she was Jew. In the story, written by a post-captivity of Assyria, or Babylonian Jew, because I think he was Jewish, if I remember correctly, not northern Assyria. But regardless, the story is trying to explain that while the Jews were being held captive in Babylon, that there was an attempt to assassinate them by using the legal system to justify racial discrimination and genocidal murder. As was it Hagar or Hamath built that machine to punish the Jews in accordance with the law that he had tricked the king of Babylon into enforcing. But then Ishtar, the goddess of Babylon, comes to the king and says, hey, this was a trap. You need to protect the Jews. And he then murders the guy who built the machine to assassinate the Jews. And thus, the meaning of the story is that people who are wicked, who build a weapon to destroy, that weapon gets turned on them eventually. And that's supposed to be the justice of God. But interesting, it's the goddess of the Babylonians. As the Jewish author still tries to say it was the true Jewish God overall that preserved the Jews. And so when we're looking at the last days, and we read in Doctrine and Covenants section 45 verse 31 about a desolating scourge, a sickness throughout all the world, and we see that this is the latter days, and we do have a sickness called coronavirus. It's an easy and obvious connection. And so what are we to expect from this? Many people are cursing God and dying, fulfilling biblical prophecy. If I get it, I get it. It's God's will. I have no choice. I'm being extorted. And you need to understand, you're being extorted. If you are going to work and you're not staying home to stay safe, and you justify it with whatever excuse, well, I need the money. I have to work to get money. I have to pay for things. That's our economy. And the economy must be preserved. Well, no, it doesn't. That's the whole trick that they're playing on everybody. That's the brainwashing game they're playing on you. You're being extorted, is what it is. And so then we have Nelson, who comes out with a planned video for tomorrow at 11 a.m. here in Utah. And he's claiming to have a message of hope. We don't need hope right now. We don't need thoughts and prayers. We need solutions. We need this problem fixed because it's an external cause. This is part of the brainwashing trap that psychologists have taught government leaders to perform. If you notice, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or liberal or conservative, you have anti-science denial in you, regardless of which side you're on. Should I go over it and make you feel very uncomfortable? That you've been brainwashed? That you are being purposely manipulated as the puppet masters are pulling your strings, regardless of which party you're a part of? This is what Nelson is doing to Mormons. He's dangling out hope. He's saying, oh, Jesus, he's going to cure coronavirus because our fasts didn't. Oh, now we've got one. It's Jesus now. It's the third time. It took Moses 3 times to get rid of Lucifer. So we're going to compare the coronavirus to Lucifer. That's what they were doing. If a coronavirus takes away your agency, oh dear God, they're just pulling your puppet strings, using the trigger words of, oh, taking away agency, because we all know as Mormons, yeah, that's Lucifer's plan of happiness. And that's what they're doing. They're not telling us, and they're hoping we all forgot, they caused this. Remember? It's not something that we can't stop and control. We all know how to handle this. We've seen it on the movies. We've seen it on TV. They told us in the beginning what needed to be done. You need to lock down because it's all over the world. You have to shut down your ports of entry. You need to have everybody tested who thinks they want to come in here during a viral pandemic. But nope, government leader did not do that. He allowed it in, even though he tried to distract by saying, oh, I don't want that cruise ship here. It came in through other ways too. But again, he doesn't want you to remember that. He says, oh, I did the racist travel ban from China. Yeah, but you didn't stop the travel ban from other places where people were sick and coming to America to spread it. And that's the same thing that needed to be done here in Utah. You close down the borders. You don't let anybody out who has it. You don't let anybody in who has it. You quarantine right where they are when they're tested. That's how it's supposed to be done. And nobody has been doing it properly. And as a result, it's now overcome America. And they're doing it on purpose. They want everybody infected. It's called herd immunity. They're treating us like animals. And this is what Nelson is now doing. He helped cause the escalation. He was slow to shut down the church. Then he shut down the church. Then Mormons were like, oh no, we have no church to worship our God, and a rammy-umptum to give our rote testimonies and prayers on. Seriously, you forgot your Book of Mormon. Nelson had you studying your Book of Mormon, didn't he? I remember he did. He told the youth, study your Book of Mormon before we have our youth conference here in 2018, where I'm going to establish the Hitler Youth among Mormons. We're going to call it the Youth Battalion instead. And then before the end of the year, I want you to study the Book of Mormon before the end of the year. What were you doing with that time? That you got deceived now. That you think you need to go to church during a viral pandemic. Oh, but we're being safe, we're wearing masks, and we're staying 6 feet apart. Oh, dear God. It's like, have you forgotten science? But Nelson, he's in charge. He's a leader of the church. And he's playing you. And so it's just horrifying. Another thing that you should automatically recognize you're being played for is that the church, again, put out an open response for Mormons to respond. How do you want to again change our hymn book? Why are we changing the hymn book at all? Why are hymns being removed and new ones being put in? Can't we just make bigger, thicker hymn books? Aren't all the hymns good? Or is there something about them? But this is the thing, is that in the Mormon church, the hymns are supposed to be designed to help people feel the Spirit. And we don't realize the lyrics in the hymns are teaching doctrine. The question is, are they teaching correct doctrine? Now, the church leaders should already know which hymns are correct doctrine and incorrect doctrine, shouldn't they? Yeah, well, why can't we put all the hymns in the hymn book then, if all the hymns are good and from God? They even changed the musical composition of one of them. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't bring it out. But Jesus is a shining place. There is sunshine in my soul. That one's been changed. I remember doing the choral, men's choral part of Happy Moments Roll. Gone. They don't have that anymore. And so they're purposely manipulating the hymn books, first of all, but there's no reason to remove hymns or deny hymns or take out hymns unless they're anti-Mormon. They're not in accordance with Mormon doctrine. That's why they claim they don't have the slave song by the slave ship owner, or the slave ship guy, captain, who composed it. Amazing Grace. The church will not have Amazing Grace in our hymn books. And they claim, well, it's false doctrine. And so we don't have it in our hymn books. And is it false doctrine? Is it? If you put in a Christian interpretation, yes. But then why not remove the other Christian doctrines in our hymn books? Why that one specifically? And we all know the reason why has to do with the quid pro quo in 1978. Government drops the Edmunds-Tucker Act, and the church allows blacks in the priesthood. Yeah. And so that's disturbing. And yes, there are some false doctrines. There's a primary hymn. Faith is knowing. That right in the title, it gives false information. Faith is not knowing, faith is believing. It's just unbelievable. No, Travis, you can't cast it out by your unbelief. So, also note, that's what I'm trying to say, that Huh. That, the lawsuit update for you. Still nothing. I was thinking maybe something, but we have today also. And I'm concerned that it's going to go against me. But she's taking too long to make her decision here, which means I know I won, and that she's trying to find any excuse to allow the church to get away with their crimes. And so that's disturbing that it's taking her this long to make this decision. I mean, I could understand waiting until after the election because you don't want to influence the election in a court, which, yes, I was trying to influence the election by holding people accountable. Nonetheless, oh, Nelson came out with a video about brightest days are yet ahead. Oh my God, he's doing it again. Nelson has done it again. Fire victims in western United States. Nelson came out with a video for them. And is gaslighting them. Oh, yeah, isn't it great that there's a Jesus and your lives are destroyed, your homes are gone, you have no property, but the brightest days are ahead. Oh my God. What an ass. What a complete and utter ass. Let's see if I can find that video. Okay, only 36, that's the average. So, still not getting the attention anymore. My LDS birth and death signs for Monson and the Son of Man. Alright, let's see. Russell M. Nelson, brightest days are yet ahead. There's much more to come. 7 months ago, 9 years ago, 6 months ago. Are they not going to put the video up for everybody? Premiere. Now it says message of hope. No, they don't have it on the church site. Let's check the church newsroom. God, it's just all groundbreakings, and then Oaks promoting racism and other challenges. See, the way they word it, you think, oh, he's disapproving of racism and other challenges. Challenges? Racism is a challenge? Excuse me? Racism is a crime. It's not a challenge. Oh dear God. Okay, so I'm not finding this video. Is it thestoryappears.com? Download media. Let's see. Yeah, it's a video message. Gave it to Stakes. I think the download media is for the pictures. Yeah, I agree. Oh, that's just the photos. Yeah, I don't care about the photos. So let's close out this. I want the video. They're not going to give us the video. Man. Oh, the church has opened up its buildings to those in need. Yay. Yeah. And it's only temporary, because you're supposed to pull up yourself by your own bootstraps. All right. 400 members were evacuated in just Oregon City. Oh, damn. So, yeah, that means thousands of Mormons have been displaced. And of course the church demands that they get help from their family first. The white supremacists call. So yeah, I mean, this is tragic. The church are trillionaires, and they're brainwashing Mormons. No, you need to take care of yourself. We're not here to help you do everything for you. Screw you. You caused this. And if you didn't know, the climate crisis guy who did the inconceivable truth or whatever it's called, he came to the church leaders trying to get them to be environmentally friendly. You know, like solar panels on all of the buildings. They have an impact in the world and could help with the climate crisis. And the church said, nope, thanks for coming by. Nope. They don't care. They're a part of the destruction. They're a part of the puppet strings of brainwashing. And if you're wondering what I meant, well, for example, it's typically Republicans who are anti-maskers and anti-coronavirus. It's all a hoax. It's not for real. It's like the flu. It'll go away. We just inject ourselves with disinfectants. Did they? Did they? Yeah, only a few reported cases emerged, and most of them were children. But you see the point, is that Trump's loyalists are exactly like an audience watching a WWE match or show. That's what Democrats don't get, because they don't watch the show. And people have done studies on the WWE, because Vince McMahon just totally trashes his wrestlers. He pays them too little, and he treats them poorly. He doesn't give them health care and benefits and protections. He just throws them into the ring, and they beat each other up, and he designs the script, so he determines who wins or loses. But they all lose because of the punishment that they are given by working for Vince McMahon. But the audience loves the wrestlers, and Vince McMahon knows this, and so he writes himself in as the villain of all the stories. And people then love him for being the villain. He knows exactly how to manipulate the audience. However, there have been certain people he wanted to promote, and the audience just refused to accept them. Because the audience controls the WWE, and Vince McMahon knows this. And so it's the audience who needs to rise up and say, hey, give them health care, protect them. We don't want our favorite character dying prematurely, as many have. And so the audience loves to engage as much as they can in the taunting and yelling back and forth between the wrestlers. And so you'll hear a certain favorite, I think it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, that the people do this whenever he's talking to somebody, and the person tries to speak against Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the audience will join in. What? what? And then the wrestler plays along and gets offended. Oh, you guys, you stop it. And the audience keeps doing it. What? See, this is how they manipulate the audience, get them involved in the contest. But never, ever is a wrestler supposed to take it out on an actual viewer, an actual or audience member. But they then plant people in the audience. You know, the son of a wrestler, the wife of a wrestler, and they're watching the event, and oh no, and then they jump out of the audience and go help their dad or whatever, or the wrestler comes into the audience after beating their dad to a pulp and then pulls them and then beats on them, and the audience loves it. And unfortunately, you get a regular audience member who thinks he can get involved. That's why they have security, is to prevent that from happening. The security knows who's supposed to be a part of the show and who's not. And so security is there to remove the audience member who is fully brainwashed into the system. But this is how Trump's loyalists are. They love that Trump is causing havoc and chaos, even though they know they're never going to inject themselves with disinfectants. They're not dumb. But they love the chaos that Trump is causing. That's why they keep voting for him. That's why they keep encouraging him. That's why they go about doing what they're doing. But then you get white supremacist groups who want this to be serious and then go on act on it. Oh, we're going to kidnap the governor of Michigan. Yay! What? No, guys. But we're supposed to have security guards to prevent them from doing what they're not supposed to do when they cross the line thinking that they are going to be a part of the show. And unfortunately, those security guards are also in on it when police are the cause of the problem. Black Lives Matter protest, for example. It's all fun and games when Trump is a racist, but when police go and murder unarmed black men, that's crossing the line. But that's the security guards of this American WWE government show. And this is where it's gone wrong. This is where it's gone tragic, is that a coronavirus has now been introduced into the game, into the show. And it's not just affecting the wrestlers now, it's affecting the audience. And the audience are dying. And this is what people don't understand, is that Trump, as Vince McMahon of the American game, is purposely murdering his own audience. His loyalists, as well as any other Democrat or liberal or those who don't vote at all, because there were a lot who didn't vote. Murder as many people as he can. And now that he's lost, and I think he didn't expect to lose this badly. I think he was expecting certain people to rise up to make this a closer race. I expected Russia. Apparently, we stopped Russia from attacking this time. But nonetheless, Trump's now destroying America. Just laying it waste. I mean, have you forgotten? He appointed new Pentagon officials, which means he's ready for war. But now we're being distracted with the latest thing he's pulling. That's what he does. He has told us in publications of his Art of War, for example. He tells us that he purposely does this. He's a criminal. He tells us he's a criminal. He extorts. He manipulates. He lies to make his deals. That's his art of the deal. He's a crook. He's a criminal. He's a fraud. And he's pulling the con now, getting his loyalists to pay him money before he leaves, as he destroys America. And if the news forgets that he replaced the Pentagon officials, that's exactly what he wants. Because when it comes closer to January 20th, all of a sudden those Pentagon officials will start doing things in their new job that Trump wants them to do. And it's not going to be pretty. So don't be distracted now. Look at the big picture. Because Trump always brings it all back again when people have forgotten. And that's what Nelson's done. He's taken advantage of this. He's gone, Trump let coronavirus into America. He's letting it grow and fester in America. I'm going to help. I'm going to slow down the shutting down of the church. I'm going to get Mormons to want to have church again. We're going to have apostles go out, and all this coronavirus is taking away our agency. We need the religious freedom and the right to assemble at church. And so the pressure is put on the government leaders as the virus keeps rising. Number of cases, number of deaths. And so, we got to open up the church. The church is putting pressure on us. Okay, well, we'll lie on the numbers, and we'll fire people who complain, and we'll open up businesses again, so that the church can open up church again. And sure enough, church did it. Even though, as a medical doctor, Nelson knows it's not appropriate to open. He opens because the government. And so he then says, it's the government. The government said it was okay to open, so I'm opening. And you're helping with the spread and the continuing rise. And this is how they play the game. And then eventually, they turn, and they have. They've turned on you. They're blaming you now. Herbert opened up businesses. Herbert, and thus Nelson, opened up the church, the temple, missions. Not us. We didn't open them. We didn't sneak into the churches to hold church when the church is supposed to be closed. No. Nelson opened the churches. Nelson opened the temples. Nelson started the missions up again. Nelson opened up his businesses. He's responsible. Not you. But yet they blame you. You weren't wearing a mask. You weren't being safe. You weren't staying 6 feet apart. No! You set the conditions for the risk. And you say you're trying to be safe. It's what you did with the schools, Herbert. Say, we want our children to be safe, and so we're going to make sure that they all wear masks, and we're going to make sure that the schools are clean. No, exactly what happened. Cases skyrocketed. We're in red. Parents have now got children who are sick, separated from their children now, because they sent them to school. And maybe that's what they wanted. You take care of my kids. I don't want to take care of them. Domestic violence rose in Utah, higher than ever before during coronavirus. My hell. What is wrong with you people? But understand, just like on TV, those commercials that say, you can save hundreds of dollars by buying our product. Well, I can save whatever price you're offering for that product by not buying it. So there. Same with this virus. I'm going to save my life by staying home. But unfortunately, they're threatening everybody. They're extorting us. They're forcing us to go out of our homes if we want to survive. They will not shut down the government and provide us with basic necessities while we shut down. It's not a difficult thing to have done to protect human life, but they don't care about human life. They're causing the conditions and blaming you. Herbert's washed his hands now. He's no longer the governor, because he's been replaced. He tanked Utah as he's leaving. And so now Cox is taking over, the one who was put in charge of the coronavirus task force. And you voted for him. You here in Utah. So the consequences are going to follow. We're going to continue this virus. Well done.